These are pretty good. I've got a good impression with these. I would have to recommend them if you're looking for a clog and you want one that has a little more support to it, or one that has a removable insole to it. Alright, good day to you all. We're back with another one. This is another viewer requested or viewer informed product from a company that I had never heard of prior to the viewer informing me, and that is the Bog company, B-O-G-S, Bogs. They apparently came out with a clog. So we've got the Boga Clog. They looked alright. Kind of a standard clog design. You can see the little photo. It said they run big, so I went with an 11. I don't know how big. Some of the reviews said that they were like ginormous. So we'll find out. We'll get a better idea on the sizing momentarily. And I kind of hope these are too big for me so I can send them back. I shouldn't have bought these. My finances are a little tight right now, so hopefully these aren't good so I can send them back. But that's not a great way to start the video. Let's say the opposite. I hope these are amazing so that I struggle with myself whether or not I need to or should send them back. They look kind of nice. They do look a little big though. So they actually have an insole design on them. I was just talking how American companies don't do that. Well, we have one here. The Bogs. Alright, we'll pull them out and I will read the write-up. I went with the Sahara color. They kind of had like this desert rose that looked pretty cool, but they didn't have the 11s in stock. And they actually have kids sizes, and they had a really cool looking green marbled color, but it was only in the kids sizes. It reminded me a lot of my Skechers, those Arch Fit, just in terms of like the swirl. So these look pretty nice at a glance. So let me read the write-up. I got it pulled up. All right, and this is bogsfootwear.com is the website. So they've got 5 different color options. This is the Sahara. They have a desert rose, an olive. I can insert footage of this so you guys can see it. That always makes a little more of a dynamic experience when I show you what I'm looking at instead of just saying it, you know. So there's an olive, a black, and then they also have an oatmeal, which is like an off-white color. So nice color options, nice variety. They're already doing more than a lot of companies that only offer like a black and white. Cough cough New Balance, or the Puma Nitro cats. Cough cough Puma. I think those are only in like the beige and the black, but I digress. Back to the Bogs. So this is the Boga, they've called it. It has very high reviews, 38, and it's got almost 5-star reviews. They retail for $70, so they are a little pricey for a clog. I wish they were a little cheaper. That's part of why I want to get my money back, so we'll do the video and see. So hopefully they're not that good. All right, the descriptions. Oh, let me backtrack. The core benefits: easy clean, cushioning, easy on and off, and lightweight. It says this product fits big. We recommend ordering a size down. Description: the Bogs Boga takes slip-on comfort to the next level. Whether you're recovering from a long day at work, walking the dog at the local park, or just need something for your daily trek to the mailbox, Bogs' versatility will stand out as soon as you slip them on. And with strategically placed rubber pads on the outsoles, you'll have a lot more grip than the competition. As a bonus, the Bogs logo on the front of the shoe doubles as a click-in-place locking mechanism for the foam strap when the Bogas aren't in sport mode. Take a quick look around and you'll realize there are countless places where the Boga feels at home. No matter what your to-do list has in store for you, Start and end your day with the comfort and durability only the Boga can provide. Heat warning. Exposure to high heat may cause this product to shrink or warp. Yes, that is true with the EVA world. Okay. That's it for the sales pitch. So let's take a look at them. It feels a lot like Crocszilla, a lot like the Crocs EVA. It even has a similar texture pattern on the top. Well, it's not a pattern, but just that tactile texture. You can kind of see it a little bit, very reminiscent of Crocs. So we have 3 stripes, horizontal stripes on the top, and we've got ventilation holes that are cut within those stripes. There's a little more texturing. It's like a grid pattern dot. It's just a little circle, but it's kind of laid out in a little grid pattern. That is in the inset lines there. Also up top, pretty much it looks like wherever it isn't risen, we've got those bumps. So I'm curious. You can see they've milled out these ventilation holes. They're not super clean. The holes are a little crude. I think they need to sharpen their tools. But then on the toe here, there's implied ones. So it looks like in the initial design they had ventilation in the toes here too, but chose to leave those filled in, which is interesting. But I betcha if you really wanted to, you could take an X-Acto knife and cut those out also. So pretty basic looking top. That's apparently their logo, and they mentioned that the strap kind of locks in, which it does, which is kind of nice. There's a little audible click too. We've got rivets, just like on Crocs. So this is a very akin to a Croc in terms of the general design. The strap is made of the same EVA material. It feels pretty thick. It's not too bad in terms of its quality. Oh, we've got sizing on that little indent that locks in. That's kind of nice. There is our mold injection line. It is kind of integrated. They've created kind of a top and a bottom along that line. You can see our tread pattern kind of starts right there. And these top little stripes or whatever, let's stop right there as well. And our rubber insert also kind of comes up to that line to an extent. So let's look at the tread. Let me pull this up just a little more if it will. Alright, let's look at our tread pattern. We've got the Bog logo again on the center, another sizing. Made in China, all man-made materials. So the tread is rather aggressive. We've got aren't these chevrons, I think they're called, kind of a chevron shape that has some pretty aggressive cuts in between them. So it creates a very kind of aggressive tread pattern on the bottom, and it is kind of isolated here in the middle. You can see we've got the center foot focus with the tread, and then it's broken up, and we've kind of got some side, I don't know what to call this, kind of some side traction, so it kind of carries up on the sides there, which is probably good for like mucky conditions. If you're trying to walk through some deep mud, this side tread will probably still give you some good traction. And then we've got some rubber inserts here on the bottom on the tread, so we'll see how that feels underfoot, but I'm guessing we won't feel it because we have this insole. But that's nice though. That'll add a little more longevity to the clog, and some a little harder of a traction pad, you could say, on the heel and then on the toe, and it does wrap a little around the side there on both the heel and then on the opposite side on the toe there. So that's kind of nice, like stylistically. I like how they did that, how it's kind of offset. So like had they carried it up to this next one, it would have been kind of balanced. And then it's interesting though on the toe that they chose to just do it on the inside. Just when you're, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I guess you would have more leverage if you're trying to like dig in to have it on the inside. It does make sense. Whereas the outside, you'd just be more like sliding. I'm just thinking about walking through mud and why they chose to have this rubber on just the one side instead of the other side too, as far as the toe went. But it's nice stylistically with it being offset. It's a little stylized, you could say. All right, let's look at the insole. So we've got a mild pattern on it. Looks like it's decent ergos to it. We've got a little bit of an arch. It is back a little further. There's a little bit of a plateau there. It does dip down a little bit for the heel, and then it rises back up a little bit, and then it dips back down for the forefoot. And we've got a little bit of a toe line there. But you can see this kind of a line wave texture pattern there. So that probably feels pretty nice on bare feet. And there's a little bit of an inner arch support there. And then it's kind of gradually lays back down towards the outside of the foot. There's our Bogs logo again. That logo is a little weak. I think they could have added a little more identifiable characteristic to it than just a donut shaped, you know? That just seems rather weak. When I first saw it on the toe, actually on the bottom too, like, I don't see that really as an identifiable logo. It just looks like a notch, just a functional little notch there for that strap, you know? But I don't perceive that as being a real identifiable logo. Like if you were to throw that up somewhere, leave it by itself, nobody would know that that's the Bogs logo. So just some criticism there. This insole is kind of a two-tiered in terms of its thickness. We've got a lot of material in the back here, and then it gets rather thin up front. So we'll see what kind of impression that gives underfoot. But you can see how thin it gets towards the forefoot there, which is interesting. So, and then there are some holes drilled into the back area here, which will probably aid in the compression. Though they were very crudely drilled, looks like they were dragging it out. As they drilled and pulled out, it kind of dug in a little bit. And we've got some measurements on the bottom here. I don't know what those mean. So, interesting. All right, I think that's everything for the insole. We can kind of take a look at the cavity without the insole. Nothing real exciting about it. We've got those similar lines too, so I'm guessing everything kind of lines up. Maybe not. They are in different places, so. We've got the sizing, and I don't know what those percentages are. So, who knows? But those are probably measurements. 49, 48.9, 81. So they're all lined up as far as those lines go and stuff. So it's just interesting. Worth noting, pointing out, the insole just slides in. There isn't any locking mechanism. It does kind of, it shifts ever so slightly underfoot, just within the cavity. But I think that's everything we have to say in hand. See, so they're using the same, like that's their logo. Does that look like a logo? No, that looks like a rivet. It's just a weak logo, man, from like a design perspective. There's not enough there to distinguish it. But if that's the worst I have to say about these, then that's not too bad. Got some marks here on the toe area. All right, let's throw them on foot. Okay, I kind of dig the collar, the Sahara collar. The sizing doesn't look too bad. Just standing next to him here with the Yumis, the 3D printed Yumis. All right, slide in impressions. Not too bad. I'm feeling that elevation variation from the heel to the forefoot. So we've got some nice compression back at the heel there, but then that forefoot really doesn't have a whole lot going on up there. And I feel that toe groove. That toe groove is very prominent at the front. The sizing feels good though. I think going down half a size is probably the way to go. I still have a lot of space up in the toe. Not too much. Like my, I have maybe a 1/4 inch. Yeah, so these toes are right at the edge of the insole, whereas the big toe, I've got 1/2 inch. So I think going down a half size is probably the good sizing information. Yeah, you might be able to go down a full size, but if you're on a whole size, you might want to just stay true to size. I don't know if going down a full size would be good sizing recommendation. I think just going down a half size is sufficient. Like I wouldn't want to have, I wouldn't want to have these in a 10.5. An 11 is perfect for me. These holes are a little crude, but okay. So the width is nice. They feel like a nice Croc width. Oh, excuse me. So just laying them next to the classic Crocs. They are, I would say the dimensions are pretty much, I wouldn't say identical, but they're extremely close to the Crocs in terms of the width. And these are essentially a 12. These are a 13 that I shrunk down in the Crocs. And they're basically shrunk down to a 12. They might have a little more width than a standard 12, but right next to these 11s in the Bogs, I would say they are relative. So Bogs basically run a size larger than Crocs, or no, yeah, because these are an 11 and they're the same size as these shrunken down 13s, which are essentially a 12. So we've got a full size gap between them. So the Bogs run one size large, I would say. But just in terms of sizing recommendation, I think going down half a size is fine. All right, they are a little more comfortable though, I would say, these Bogs, having that insole. Crocs are a little more flat-footed. I'm not as elevated in the Croc as I am in the Bogs. I've got maybe a 1/2 inch to an inch rise difference from my heel to the ground versus the Crocs. I've got maybe 1/2 inch to a 1/4 inch. So there's a good size difference there just in terms of the elevation between the two. So not too bad. I would say these are a little more comfortable, these Bogs, just having that insole. So these kind of feel pretty good. So I think that's everything. Standing, the initial slide impressions are positive. Good width, comfortable insole. Those ergos are very nice. The arch support is where it needs to be for my foot. I don't have any complaints so far. These are pretty good, unfortunately. I want them to be bad so I can send them back. I still will probably send them back just to get my money back, but I might repurchase them in the future. Just because I gotta stop with my accumulation of things. It's just getting to be too much. As you can see, it's getting to be a bit much. So these are pretty good though. I'm liking these. They're feeling pretty comfy underfoot. I like having that additional support underfoot versus the Crocs. So if Crocs are too flat-footed for you, if they don't have enough support in them, you might like these Bogs. These are kind of good. The thing that's standing out most to me as far as my impressions go, the physical impression, is that line under the toes. This line right here is a little high. It's a little aggressive, a little prominent for just a toe line. So I'm feeling that. That's what's standing out most as far as my walking experience goes. Everything else is pretty good, which is a good thing. If things aren't standing out as I'm walking, that's a positive. I think one of the best impressions is to not have anything really pop out. That means everything's kind of working. So right now, that's the thing that's popping out the most, is that line under the toes. That and the arch support in the heel, but that's a very nice sensation back in the arch and the heel. Like, that's very supportive, very cushioned. It's a very positive impression. Whereas those toes, it just seems a little much. It seems a little aggressive, but I imagine that toe line will probably flatten some once these are worn a little more and they're kind of broken in. That line will probably flatten back down, or just flatten down so it's not so impressionable, I could say. Or you could say, or I should say, I don't know. The impression of it won't be as prominent once it's flattened down. So these are good. These are kind of nice. I'm kind of digging them. I'm not noticing that rubber inlay at all. That insole is squishy enough where I'm not feeling the impression of that rubber inlay under the tread. So let me take a sock off and we will throw it in sport mode and see how these do with the strap on the back. Oh, I gotta put the straps on. Sport mode enacted. So that strap goes back pretty far, which is kind of a good thing. It's not pushing my foot forward. These do feel pretty loose though without a sock on. These are very casual fitting. They feel more casual with the strap on. But it's functional. The strap is functioning. It's not tight in that it's pushing my foot forward, but it's there. So as I walk, it's kind of grabbing my heel, but it's a little loose. That strap could be a little tighter. You might hit that with the hairdryer, but like, it's grabbing. It's strapping. It's sporting. So it is functional. It's just a little loose. So I'd rather have it a little loose than a little tight, like on those in-motion clogs, to where it pulls my foot forward, but that's easily fixable. As they even said in their description, this EVA will shrink under heat, so if you need to adjust something, you can just hit it with a hairdryer, hit it with a little heat, soften it up, and either it'll just contract on its own, or you can kind of tug on it a little bit and it'll stretch out. So these are pretty good. These aren't bad. I think these are kind of a, I don't want to say a better Croc, but I think they've improved upon the clog design. Just the ergos are really good on these. That insole is pretty good. They're still nice and wide. Like, I like the fit. These fit like a Croc. I think clogs need to be wide. They don't need to be, but I think they're better when they're wide. That's one of my only criticisms of the in-motion clog, is it's a little more skinny. It's a little more narrow. I wish they had the width to them, but I probably should have went a size up in those in-motion, but I digress. These are pretty good. I've got a good impression with these. I would have to recommend them if you're looking for a clog and you want one that has a little more support to it, or one that has a removable insole to it. This insole isn't anywhere as squishy as the Chinese slides, like the AG Whale 2 or the Shark 3. This insole is not getting anywhere as close or anywhere as squishy as the Chinese made slides, but it has really good ergos to it, and I would say it's kind of a mid squish. So if you want something that's kind of balanced, this insole has a pretty balanced compression to it, where it's still got some nice squish going on, but it's retaining its shape. It's not compressing too much underfoot. So it's pretty balanced. Pretty balanced. So these are nice. These are nice. I kind of dig them. I think I'm still gonna send them back just because I can't afford these right now. Maybe next month we will repurchase them, or if they come out with some maybe some marbled colorways, I could pick one up. But I don't need these, even though they're good and I kind of want them. I don't need them. I need to start sending back more. But yeah, these are good. These are definitely good. And when it gets to the point where I'm gonna do like a top 5 clogs, I'll end up repurchasing these because these are really good. I think these would make it into the top 5. These are giving my Crocs a run for the money. Really the only negative I have is that toe groove being as prominent as it is. I'm okay with how these fit. Just going a half size down worked for me. So I wouldn't say these run like really, really big, but I kind of like things to be a little more roomy, you know? But yeah, these are good. These are good. These get the recommendation. If you're looking for a clog that has a little more support than a Croc, or that has removable insole to them, these are pretty good. I do dig them. I'm not sure what else I have to say about them. That toe curve is a little prominent. You can probably see it from that angle. That's one thing I noticed sliding in, how this curves up. It's a little prominent, but most things flatten out, I've noticed, the more you have them. But that toe curve is a little prominent, but it's not terrible. It's not terrible. And this EVA is pretty soft too. I don't feel like they don't feel too clunky underfoot or like too stiff or anything, you know. They're pretty good. These are not bad. I do dig them. I do recommend them. Good job, Bog. You need to just work on that logo a little more. It's a little lazy. It's a little lazy of a logo. I don't think you would have gotten a good grade on that. If the assignment was to create a logo for your company, that's kind of like a C logo. That's not a very, very strong logo. But if that's the worst that I have to say about these is the logo, then that's pretty positive, I would say. These are pretty good. Let me flip this. So, first impression with the Bogs Clog. These are not bad. I forget what these were called. The Bogas. The Bogas, good job, Bogs, on your Boga. They are fantastic. I do recommend them. I'm going to return these just to get my money back because I'm kind of poor right now because I had to move this month, and I'm actually in the process of moving in over there. So starting in July, we'll be in a different setting for these videos, you guys will notice. So check out I did a short on it. I showed off my apartment. If you go into my shorts, you'll see the 500 sub special. I do a little tour of the new apartment if you want to check it out. But yeah, as far as the Bogs Boga go, these are pretty good. I do recommend them if you're looking for a little more of a premium clog. These are kind of a premium clog with that insole, I would say. So they're good. They're not bad. They're going to give Crocs, I think, they won't give them a run for their money. I never even heard of this company prior to this. The viewer that commented and suggested that I check them out, I never heard of Bogs prior to that, so I don't think they're going to give Crocs a run for their money. But as far as quality goes and stuff, these are pretty good. These are not bad. I do recommend them. So, all right, I'm just repeating myself at this point. So, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Leave your comments below on your thoughts and opinions of the Boga from Bogs. And if you have any other foam footwear that you would like me to check out, feel free to leave that in the comments below as well. We'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you. Cheers.